Hello everyone and welcome back. And today, yesterday, we got some huge revelations regarding aliens and UFOs. So if you haven't seen, there was a big hearing yesterday regarding UAPs and all things alien related, with some of the people being questioned, high-ranking officials or former, and just probably the most credible sources that could talk about this. The main one you've probably seen is David Grush, a US former intelligence officer, who got most of the questions in this one regarding to aliens and UFOs or UAPs, and the others talking about certain events that they've seen take place, and one that we've actually seen before. So the first one we're going to be taking a look at is the opening statement from Commander David Fravor, where he talks about a tic-tac ship with no wings that could stop mid-air and travel 60 miles in less than a minute.
The controller told us that these objects had been observed for over 2 weeks, coming down from over 80,000 feet, rapidly descending to 20,000 feet, hanging out for hours, and then going straight back up. For those who don't realize, above 80,000 feet is space. We arrived at the location at approximately 20,000 feet, and the controller called merge plot, which means that our radar blip was now in the same resolution cell as the contact. As we looked around, we noticed that we saw some whitewater off our right side. It's important to note that the weather on this day was as close to perfect as you could ask for off the coast of San Diego. Clear skies, light winds, calm seas, no whitecaps from waves. So the whitewater stood out in a large blue ocean. All four of us, because we were an F-18F, so we had pilots and Wizzo in the back seat, looked down and saw a white tic-tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping-pong ball.
So as he explains, the UFO that they were observing was far more superior technology-wise to anything that they had in that time, or anything that they were looking to build in the next 10 years, claiming that the UFO could pretty much just disappear like that, and that it could just stay stationary in one position with no fuss whatsoever or anything to show that it's being propelled up by anything. And in the second clip we're going to be taking a look at is from a Mr. Graves, who talks about a UFO that was again staying stationary, but this time in horrific conditions. Category 4 hurricane winds is what's said here, but let's just take a look.
How do you know that these were not our aircraft?
Some of the behaviors that we saw in a working area, we would see these objects being at 0.0 Mach, that's zero airspeed, over certain pieces of the ground. So what that means, just like a river, if you throw a bobber in, it's going to float downstream. These objects were staying completely stationary in Category 4 hurricane winds. These same objects would then accelerate to supersonic speeds, 1.1, 1.2 Mach, and they would do so in very erratic and quick behaviors that I don't have an explanation for.
So when asked how does he know that these weren't aircrafts known to man already, he goes on to explain that it can stay completely stationary in hurricane type winds and can basically immediately accelerate into supersonic speeds. But that's not the real meat and gravy of this story, as the biggest reveal to come from this hearing is where David Grush is asked if the US government is in possession of any UFOs or non-human bodies. This is what he has to say.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to Skiff about.
So yeah, he can't outright say that, what we have in possession, but he does come out and say that yes, the US government is in possession of non-human biologics or whatever, and parts of UAPs. And they mentioned the thing about SCIF, which is a more private hearing just between the board members here and the trialies. And David Grush really gets the brunt of these questions, as he's then asked again by Mr. Burleson, who really tried to wiggle his way around any questions that he could. Asking the questions, he knew that he wouldn't just be able to get a straight answer, so he had to loop his way around somehow. And yeah, I thought it was quite inquisitive.
Point you had said that there has been harmful activity or aggressive activity. Has any of the activity been aggressive, been hostile in your reports?
I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured. And the activity, and I got
By UAPs or by people within the federal government?
both.
Okay, so there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an open environment, but at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here, because they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed, myself and my wife, was very disturbing.
And he can't really get into specifics, but what he does say is that event that he and his wife witnessed was very disturbing. And god damn it, I just want to know what that was. Anyway, I just thought this was something interesting that I wanted to share. I don't really know a lot when it comes to aliens and all of that. But when aliens are being confirmed, god damn it, I want to talk about it. So if you enjoyed today's video, drop a like, comment and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you again in the next one.